Welcome to another Gaslec podcast. I'm Sean and I'll be hosting this week's episode. So I want to tell you a little bit about what I've been up to, about me holiday and some bits I've been up to in the last few weeks. I've not been around. And the main thing I want to talk about is planning and organisation. So if you're new to the industry, whether it be a young person or someone that's decided to have a bit of a change of industry and work, whatever you're doing, whether you're doing it for yourself or you're going to be doing it for somebody else. So I've got some hints and tips on that. But first of all, here's my friend Sean to tell you a little bit about the podcast and why we do it. Thank you for listening to another Gaslec podcast, the show to help DIYers, new people into the industry, and those who are wanting to expand their knowledge. Each week we'll pick a topic and go into details, and with special guests and listeners' questions answered, we will look forward to some of the conversations. So let's get back to the show. Right, so first of all, I've been on holiday, so it's all been a bit quiet and you haven't seen me too much on the old socials and stuff. So I batch recorded a few episodes of the podcast before I went away. So I'm recording this on Monday evening. I'll try to get it in over the weekend for Tuesday morning at 6 o'clock. So I wasn't able to for one thing after another. So what's the time now? It's coming on for 8:30 on a Monday evening. But there we are, that's what it is, and that's the commitment that we're giving to the podcast. So yeah, I went on holiday, went to Canada, went up to Niagara Falls on this package thing and got on a train, then got on a cruise ship and a couple of days in Quebec. So we sort of went around Nova Scotia, which was absolutely stunning. What a beautiful, beautiful place it was, and the weather was kind to us. But one thing you'll always get me to do, and I don't think I'm on my own with this, you'll always get me looking at the gas work and the plumbing. So up in Canada, for whatever reason, they have their gas regulators and their gas meters outside of the building. They normally have like a couple of sort of barriers because they're normally sort of physically outside in like little driveways to stop cars bumping into them. Paint them grey, like the same colour as the side of the building, so they really blend in and don't stand out, so you could really sort of crash into them quite simply. And sort of having a look at that. So I've got loads of pictures on my phone. I'll upload them onto the old Feisty bookies later on. But yeah, they have some strange ideas for toilet flushing that we don't have over here. They have a bit of a side lever, sort of dumps all the water out, rather than like a push button and a dual flush. They don't worry about any of that. It's like bang, straight 6 litres straight out. And their facets, whatever they call them, faucets, their taps idea. I don't know why they call them that. We just call them taps like everybody else does. So they have a bit of a different idea on taps. They don't really sort of follow the same sort of temperature control that we do. And the same with their showers as well. A little bit odd. They do like a squirt in your face shower. But we tend to like the more of the rain head that comes down from the ceiling with a riser rail that's fully adjustable. They like the rain heads from the ceiling on the wall. So when you turn it on, you get freezing cold water blast you in the face. But there we are. And what was really interesting, one nerdy morning I was up too early because I couldn't sleep. It was 3:30. The whole body clock for me doesn't switch over when I go sort of transatlantic. I've only done it twice. But I was wandering around. I saw a maintenance guy repairing a toilet on the cruise ship on the old Norwegian. It was lovely, it was. But seeing their vac system. So on the cruises, when you push the button, it goes and it sucks down. So it just dumps some water out, not from a stored system, but just like gives it a sort of a 2 or 3 litre squirt of water into the toilet bowl. But then it uses a vacuum to draw it away. And that vacuum, I didn't know about how the pump worked, whether it's a centralised pump and it opens a valve to bring it through. Actually, behind every single toilet in their little access panel, it looks like a big tin of Coke, that sort of size, that sort of a fizzy drink can, a larger one, it's sort of diameter and a little bit taller. And that is the pump. So as soon as you push the button, it then fires that up and then draws it through and then blows it away. And then it's taken out in like 2-inch pipework. So obviously blockages on cruise ships must be quite a lot. So they, because at home we use a 4-inch pipe to take our soil away from the toilet, but this is using 2-inch, so it uses the suck of the the pump, which then blows it down to the holding tanks. I did try and get a tour of the engine room and the plumbing system below decks, but it was fully booked. I'd have loved to have got that and got some pictures down there, but unfortunately, I was too slow off the mark to get that done. So that's where I've been. So enjoying my holiday. So just come back just in time for the weather to start to change, which is great. We start getting busier and busier and busier as we start getting on to Christmas. We've got a few job adverts out there for a plumber, a full-time plumber, full-time domestic gas engineer, and a full-time electrician. So we've got some ads running at the moment. So we're looking at expanding the business. So if you know anyone, give us a shout, get them to listen to the content, see what we're all about, and see what we do here at the family of Gaslec. So holidays out of the way. Really, really happy for that. Anyway, so planning. So probably the biggest job that I do here at Gaslec is just overseeing, making sure that when we're going out to a job, we're going out with a bit of an idea. And we do ask a lot of people of, oh, this doesn't work, that makes a noise, that squeaks, that gurgles, whatever it be. Can you send us some pictures? And that really is to cut down on the amount of time that we're going out, having a look, what's this, going away, getting something, going back, because that just all adds to the cost of the job. So to try and keep as efficient and as cheaply as possible for all our clients, so they're happy, we're happy, and we'll run around in lovely little circles, is the planning. So from the office side with me and Anne's, we try and really get as much information as we can. So when the customers phone up, I've got this, I've got that, give us as much detail as we've got, and I'll run through it all, and I'll think about the situation, the scenario, what have we got, the layout, and what do we need to take with us? So it'll be, do we need a PRV, TPRV, expansion vessel, a pump to pump up the expansion vessel? What do we need? And just making sure we've got a few options with us as we walk through the door. And one thing that I always try and do is if we've got a pump issue, a 3-port valve, 2-port valve issue, is that I really, really want to turn up with an option. If it's not that, then it's not that. But I just really want to go prepared with something under our arm in theory. So that's as we go. So organising stuff, getting stuff in, getting it labelled up when it arrives, getting all the schedules done for the materials when they come in, getting it up onto the shelf down in the store, getting it labelled up so everybody knows where we've got to pick stuff up, like boilers, where they're coming from, knowing that they've been ordered on time and they're ready for collection. We always try and connect them in the afternoons, so we got them. So it just makes the morning so just that much more simpler as they come through. And then so that all that's then done and dusted, and then I'll go out myself. And the biggest thing for me is my rucksack. Now, I love my tool rucksack. Now, some people, I've had tool bags, I've had open totes, and anybody getting into the game, I'll tell you now, if you have a big tool bag, you'll fill it up. And if you fill up a tool bag, you can have 30, 40 kilo in it. And that isn't a great experience to have 30, 40 kilo in one arm, dangling off. That's a sore back, a sore knee, a sore foot. It's the whole thing's just a nightmare. So a few years ago, I was like experimenting 3-4 years ago with rucksacks. So I've been through about 5 or 6 now, and I've got this rucksack, and I really quite like it. Made by DeWalt. It's their McLaren special edition from Screwfix that they come out with for a short period. But it's got 2 side pockets, and that's the thing that really got me on this one. So in my gas side of what I do, I have a U gauge, which is a long sort of water gauge for measuring gas pressures. So that's quite long and quite fragile. So there's got a long skinny pocket down the side with a strap. So I put that in one side, and then I have a work mat, like a task mat. So if we're working on a boiler, I then lay that down on the kitchen worktop, say, and then I can put my tools on that without marking the side. If it gets a bit wet, it's got a rubber back as well, so we're not going to spoil any materials like that with a small amount of water as well as. So I'll call that up and I'll put that in the other pocket, the other side. So the whole thing does get quite tall, but it's a really, really good way of storing those sort of long things on those side pockets. It's a shame that more tool bags don't come with that option, because I'm always out there looking for the better rucksack. But yeah, it's actually really comfortable, nice big wide straps, nice bit of back protection on it as well. When you've got to do a bit of a mission. Sometimes I've had to walk nearly a mile up in London where I've parked with all my tools, and I've had to sort of set out. So yeah, we was working up in Canary Wharf. I had to park at Canada Square down in the multi-storey, and then I had to make all my way up to the top, up into the office blocks. Up there was like a restaurant area in there, and I had to go and do some work. So that was a mission to get out of there, get all the way up and through. And if you've got a tool bag one side, that's really going to hurt. So I had it there. Inside my tool bag, I love a bit of Weira. So if you see all my silly little videos on Facebook and stuff, I have a Weira screwdriver set. So that gives me one handle with a couple of crosshead type screwdrivers, a couple of flatheads, and then some Torx bits as well. They call them blades, but they're just like the screwdriver insets into that one handle. So it really does compact down the whole of your screwdriver set into a roll wallet that you can fit into one hand. So it's great when you're going into someone's house. You don't know what you're going to be confronted with. There you got all your screwdrivers in one roll in one hand, rather than all the loose ones. It's a really fantastic bit of kit. And they're rated to 1,000 volts as well. So if you're doing anything electrical, you ain't got to worry about all of that. So they've got some really good insulation on there as well. I have a small socket set. I always carry a tiny one. I've got a Metabo one at the minute. So that does me sort of 6, 8, 10 mil sockets. Got some little bit heads as well, and a tiny little ratchet that's really, really light. So when you're working on like ideal boilers and you're taking out the burner on the top of a Logic, you've got an 8 mil, you've got 4 8 mil bolts to undo, 2 at the back, 2 at the front, and that's really nice. It just gets in an absolute treat. So yeah, that's always carry one of them. An Allen key set, another Weira set for me. Different colours, quite long. They've got a ball on one end, on the long end, so if it's a little bit on the wonk as you're putting it in, it'll still get a bit of a pinch on it and still undo it. So good quality bit of kit. You don't want no cheap rubbish that you're going to put in and start rounding off the fixing. So spend a bit of money on your hand tools, and that'll make your life so much easier. Always carry a bit of electrical tape. If you've got to hold something together, something's fallen off, you need to hold something up out of the way, rub a bit of electrical tape around something. Even down to like moving a washing machine, wrap it around the plug and the discharge hose and the water hose, wrap it round, and then bring the tape down to the front of the machine and stick it to the front of the machine. That'll hold all your pipes up and stop it all draining down on the floor as you're moving the machine around. So silly little things like that can really make a difference. I carry a bit of abrasive strip. So when we're doing some plumbing, you've got something that needs a bit of a rub up. It's, just an abrasive strip. So a bit coarse, and you just sort of rub little bits and pieces up, whether it be from a plumbing point or from a boiler gas point of view. So you need to clean something up. But they're flexible. You throw them in. They'll sort of just sit at the bottom of the bag, and you can pull them out, dust them off, and then use them. So yeah, always use that. We use a bit of silver tape. Always have a bit wrapped up. Gaslec changed the rules on commercial boilers on drilling holes for flue test points. You've got to do them properly these days. But back in the old days, someone would drill a hole and you put a bit of silver tape over the front. But sometimes you need a little bit of silver tape. You've got something that's falling down, some sort of panel or something that's messing you around. You put a little bit of silver tape on it. Works an absolute treat. I have pens. So I have a couple of pencils, a couple of ballpoint pens, certainly when you fill out boiler service records. But also I have a white marker, like a permanent marker, but it's white, so anything black I can write on. And another black permanent, use your Sharpie types. So if we do change any materials, like change spark electrodes inside a boiler, inside the boiler you can write, obviously out of the way so you can't see it, but you can write on there a date that you changed this, or you've changed the expansion vessel, whatever else, which is really, really important. So the next person that comes along, or yourself, you open it up, and there it is. There's your handwriting. And then we have spare nuts and olives and a little bit of plumbing paste and stuff that in a little pot. So if you're there and you're working and you've gone and fetched some bits from the van, my biggest pet I hate. You go, oh, there we are. We've got a compression coupling. I need that there to get this job done. You go to the vehicle, come back, sit down, and someone's robbed the olive out of it. always got a few spare in my bag. Go in there, fish one out, chuck it in, done. Job's a good one. Saves going backwards and forwards to the vehicles all the time. And obviously your bits of PPE, so your rubber gloves and sort of your normal work gloves. So you will get stuff that's hot, there will get stuff that's a bit stinky, it's a bit smelly, a bit sharp. So always have a set of work gloves in there as well. And on the front of mine, you'll see like a carabiner. I'll clip a bucket on the front, like a little bucket that sort of my dog drinks out of, those sort of like a gorilla tub, but a really shallow one. And then I'll wrap a towel over through the handle as well, just as a when you're taking condense traps out, it will drip as you're bringing it over the PCB, so you can just lay them out so it just catches any drips, and just it's a bit more professional that you're not sort of dropping water out and shaking sort of the boiler door off to get the water off. You can sort of just manage that nicely. Or if you're doing a magnetic filter, like earlier on today, I had a few drips from that, so I just wiped it out because I had my towel there. So it's really simple. My mother-in-law works in a charity shop, so I buy the old towels that are donated to the charity shop. I buy them off of down the Scope in Twiddle. So I'll get hundreds of those, and then I'll give them off to the team. So we always have plenty of towels kicking around. So that's really about it for this episode. Really, just a bit of planning. A little bit of foreign sort of plumbing stuff that sort of come across really. So some good news. We've got 2 guests that are being lined up at the moment. Now I'm back from my holiday. I've got to get all that done and dusted and get those guys booked in. So really super excited about those. So one guy's from a cleaning company, so we can explore what they do and how it can benefit you as homeowners or people coming into the industry, how that can make any benefits. And another guy's from our plumbers merchants. So from a merchant's point of view about stocking, about how they do things from their side, a bit more of an understanding really. So super excited about all of that. So if you want to be a guest on the show, if you've got any questions that you want answered on the Gaslec podcast, please email us at podcast@gaslec.net. Many thanks indeed. You take care. Have a great week, guys. Thank you very much. Take care. Bye.